It's the Ralphie Show, and we're hanging out right now with Maroon 5's Adam Levine. Adam, thank you so much for the time, buddy.
What's up?
So between the band and the voice, the fragrance, since the band started, this has got to be the busiest you've ever been, right?
Definitely 100% accurate statement. Question.
Hypothesis. Yeah. How are you managing like all? Because I mean, it's one thing just to record and release singles and then tour behind it across the globe like you've done with Maroon 5. But now venturing in all these other projects, how are you managing all this new schedule, really?
It's just one of those things. You roll with the punches and you kind of go with the flow, and you have to match the energy of the moment, and this is what's happening right now. And it's one of those things that you just got to go with.
Are you finding that tough to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's not as tough when we're on the road, actually. I mean, this is a big day of press we're doing today, and I got the fragrance and all that stuff now. But once you're on the road, it's like you have a singular purpose. It's like you want the show to be really great. So you make the show great, and that's your job. When you get home, when you're not on tour, then all the other things, the peripheral things, start to kind of take over. So it's actually a little more stressful to not be on tour when you're out down the road, because you're on the road, you got one task at hand.
And I'm sure it helped as well with this particular tour, because I think we spoke back in the fall, right as you were wrapping up, I think Australia, right? You did before this was Overexposed?
Well, Australia, we did Southeast Asia, Australia, and South America, all those territories.
So you were telling me you were able to kind of almost prep this U.S. tour as you did those dates.
Yeah, which was really cool, because you got to try things out, you check out new crowds, new countries, see what's working, see what's not, make little tweaks in your show, and then by the time you do a tour in the States, which is where we're from, clearly that's very important to us, you're ready, and we're very much ready for this, so it's very cool.
Adam Levine is here right now on the Ralphie Show. So Adam, why a fragrance? This is the last thing I thought that you would launch.
It's good to keep people guessing, right?
I guess, yeah.
Well, you can do anything well. I think that it hasn't been done particularly well, so there's a negative stigma attached to it, a stigma that I very much was a part of. I hated it. I talked about how much I hated it on Twitter. So I thought maybe, you can just hate something, which is one way of dealing with it, or you can take an opportunity that falls into your lap and use it to make something good, and it's really good. I fully support and endorse this thing.
That attitude that you have, you've kind of embraced that with your music as well, haven't you, with this last album?
Yeah. It's just, it doesn't really matter what you like to do or how your interests develop over time. It's just whether or not it satisfies you, and whether or not you put the time and the effort and the care and the artistry and the passion into it enough to make it really good. And a lot of people, what happens is they get in my position and they do a lot of the same things that I'm doing. I don't know, whether it's a fragrance or whatever it may be, or acting or whatever it is. And they just do it because they can, but also don't really fully give all they've got to each thing. It just becomes a way to make money. And I will not sit here and tell you I don't love to make money, because I do love to make money. That's a great thing. However, that's not the only reason why I'm doing a lot of these things. I would never have done this fragrance if it wasn't something that I couldn't be creatively involved in. I'm not just going to slap my name on some product just because they're going to pay me. There needs to be something that I can connect with. And if given the opportunity, and it's the right opportunity, because for every fragrance company or idea that comes around, there's 10 million more that I say no to. So I only say yes to the things I feel like I can actually work with.
Adam Levine's here on the Ralphie Show. We just unfortunately read about Lady Gaga having to cancel her tour due to her injury. Obviously, you're not doing any choreography when you're on stage, and it's been written about many times that you like yoga. Does that pretty much keep you in shape?
It's a shame to hear that.
Did you not know about
No, I mean,
Gaga?
I've been in a bubble. I heard something about it. But
she has a labral torn hip, I believe is the term. It's the exact same injury Alex Rodriguez has. That's going to probably keep him out for the season. She had to cancel the rest of her dates on the Born This Way ball.
Oh, man. See, it breaks my heart, because I don't know her, but I know that clearly she loves to perform. And I just try to stay in shape. It's easy for your body to fall apart. And, the rock and roll glory days are kind of not what they used to be. People aren't, a lot used to be out there partying and breaking themselves down. And I think now it's gotten so crazy that I like to do yoga. I like to stay in really good shape. The stage is 4 times as big as it ever was before. We travel with our own stage now, so it's a lot more of a workout to get through the set. Just pushing myself, and there is a competitive kind of athletic sensibility about what I do, because I've always been into sports. So I like to kind of take that and marry it with the music thing. I'm competitive with myself. I want to make sure I'm in good shape. Listen, tragedy strikes, whether it's tearing your hip or losing your voice. you got to be prepared for those things, those realities to happen. I mean, obviously anyone can happen to anybody, but just be prepared and respect it. It's the most you can do.
Is it hanging in the back of your head that we're about a month away from your 34th birthday?
I thought about that today. I was like, shit, am I going to be 34 or 35? How old am I? Which must be a good
34 according, well, you'll be 34
I'll be 34.
according to Wikipedia, yes.
Still the right side of 30. Still the right side of 30. Hanging on for another year.
So the numbers, you're still keeping track of the numbers a little bit. It's
Still,
not like, well, I got past 30, so now whatever.
Still the right side of 30.
Yeah, okay,
that's all I'll say. Yeah.
We're going to have Blake Shelton on the Ralphie Show coming up next week.
I feel sorry for you.
Give me an awkward question or something I could bring up during my interview with Blake that
Tell
will
him what
catch
it was
him a little off guard.
Ask him what it was like the first time he held my penis in his hand.
I can't ask him that. I might play him that clip, but I don't think I'm going to ask him
You should play him that clip.
I will. Okay, perfect. I was at the Grammys. I had no idea that Girl on Fire would mash up so well with Daylight. Did you?
Yeah, actually, I did have a feeling it would. I remember talking about it early on and thinking those songs, there's a common thread. They have these big extended choruses, these big notes, and I thought, wow, there's got to be some way to marry them. And there were some chants and there were some things that were alike. So Alicia was totally into it. I was totally into it. It was really great. We collaborated. We worked really hard on it. And you know, that was cool. The Grammy producers were amazing because they really let us have the reins, which means a lot for any artist, because I know how much control the Grammy Association kind of exerts, you know, and the fact that they really entrusted us. I mean, they worked with us obviously, but they entrusted us to see it through. It was just wonderful to gain that trust from the Grammys. It was a really cool sign of respect, and I am like over the moon with how everything went down. I'm so happy. I can't wait to do something else.
It sounded great, and I guess that leads me to you get to choose what song you're going to perform, because they could have said, hey, why don't you do Payphone instead, because that was nominated.
No, they were a really big fan of the song Daylight, and I'm so happy because that's my favorite song on the record. So it all worked out very, you know, serendipitously. Obviously, us loving Alicia, me having worked with her before. You know, Ken Ehrlich was kind of the mastermind of that. He's amazing, and it was just a wonderful time.
Overexposed, that album. It's in stores right now. Mr. Adam Levine of Maroon 5. Thank you so much for the time, buddy.
Awesome, brother.